All right. Hello. My name is Yutaka, and today I'm really excited because I have a filmmaker with me that I recently just screened their movie, their short, The Power of the Strike at Salem Horror Fest. And so please welcome Dima Barch. Hi.
Hey, how are you doing? Thank you for having me.
I'm actually doing really good because before clearly I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Because
it. Yeah.
the color palette alone and the lighting, it is just like it's my dream.
Yeah.
So first off,
We've
can
been trying to do our best, in terms of the visual aspect of it. Yeah.
oh, it was like subject matter alone, it just looks so goddamn sexy. Like it was every shot, honestly, and then we'll talk about that poster. That poster is oh, but
Oh, yeah.
first off, for the folks who haven't seen it, can you give them a little bit about what Power of the Strike is about?
It's about my anxiety actually, and a lot of things around it. And it's a high tense hostage thriller. It's huge dedication to the Saw franchise, to my favorite filmmakers as George A. Romero, as Greg Arraki, Carter Smith as my mentor, and many more. Joe Begas, which is incredible filmmaker as well. Yeah.
It feels like you also put a little bit of you into the film too, and so I really enjoyed this because uh my anxiety levels just watching it were like it was tense. So tell me what it was like just filming this short.
It was really fun actually, because it's completely different. Comparing with my first short called Dead End, because in terms of Dead End, we got like 25 long takes, a lot of locations. It was like my home country. It was Russia. I'm from Russia generally, and that one was like the budget was lower twicely. We got like one location, this abandoned bowling alley, and yeah, and it was just 2 shooting days, and just imagine 75 shots, because as you saw, we got a lot of action. Like some people will be killed, some people will be masked, and stuff like that. And these action sequences were, yeah, it was intense actually. And when I just showed up on set, I was definitely fucked up because like my first AD, she was like, "You just couldn't make it," and I was like, "Give me a minute, please. We were able to do that." Yeah.
What all I'm wow. I'm always amazed with how filmmakers when they do shorts,
Yeah.
you're able to turn around something like this in such a short time. It's ridiculous because oh my gosh, honestly, and also to everybody else, I love watching horror shorts because I feel like I get introduced to new talent all the time, and I feel like it's kind of cool because I feel like I'm experiencing them before they're about to like blow up. That's well, at least I'm manifesting that
I
because
hope so, because like I didn't blow up yet. Yeah.
which is a damn shame. I hope. Oh man. Well, first off, I'm going to tell everybody, really, you need to see the power of the strike. It is, it is just, oh, well, it's sexy, it's thrilling. And there was some gore that I was not expecting. And when you did that, I was just like, I was just, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, wait, what just happened?
That was the point. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, I had to pause and take a second. I was like, oh, okay, we're going there. Got it. Okay, I think I'm following along.
Nice, nice. I love that.
So, also too, just shooting this. Tell
Yeah.
me about just when you found this location. How was it? How'd you go about just like knowing what do you want it like the vision when setting it up?
To be honest, initially it wasn't the bowling alley. In the initial script, it was just abandoned warehouse or something like that. More, like it was closer to the Saw franchise, the original source of
Hmm.
inspiration. Because Let me say this. When I came up with this idea, it was partially a dream, um,
Okay.
closer to, I don't know, like the Squid Game TV show or something. In this dream, I got this. It wasn't like a gun; it was a rifle or something like that, and I had to shoot people. And if I didn't make it, I would, like electrocuted by this color.
Hmm.
That's why I decided to make this, like high concept or something like that. On the one hand, it was like, as I told you, dedication to the Saw franchise. On the other hand, it was like this, the part of this dream.
Hmm.
But then I decided to make it more like politically and like social,
Oh, I loved
more
that
like a
aspect,
social
by the way.
statement.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, I loved it.
uh, because my very first shirt, as I told you, I'm from Russia, and my first shirt was about like this anxiety of being suppressed in Russia, so of being like gay person in Russia.
Hmm.
And that one I wanted to make more universal, but still really, like straightforward in terms of this message, in terms
Yes.
of being like probably accusing sometimes, probably, just hurt some bullshit people like Red Wing, like this crazy Christian in this shirt.
I live in the Midwest, so I'm fully aware of these type of people. I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was kind of like this, and I got this idea that I needed to make it this shirt as like soon as I can, because the point was my life was fucked up 2 years ago. I had to
Hmm.
flee my country because of the war between Russia and
Mm.
Ukraine, and before the filmmaking, I used to be journalist and I was pretty famous in Russia. And I got like a lot of film stuff, like covering film sets, like Marvel film sets. I got a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
jackets with different celebrities like Jessica Chastain, like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, mixed me up with Harry Styles in one of these junkets. And I got
Stop
this
it.
it was funny. Yeah, it was fun experience. But at the end of the day, I burnt out in this field because I started working as a journalist when I was like a kid. I was like 15 or something, and I achieved all of these, like established things in this profession or something like that.
Hmm.
And I was published by Esquire, GQ, Forbes, and stuff like that. And yeah,
Holy shit. Wow.
yeah, and at the end of the day, I got this idea that probably it was like very first door in this field because I've been always fascinated with film world, with cinema, and my dad brought me to the theater when I was 5 or 6, watching this, like the third part of Star Wars or Casino Royale and films like this. Probably Casino Royale was like the very first like rememberable experience in theater. That's why I'm so, like fascinated with this strict craftsmanship rules because like Casino Royale is one of the best craftsmanship, like piece of work. So I got this idea that I need to make this transition to filmmaking, to being a director writer, and still I needed to do some money. And I've been doing journalism still, but not only as a film journalist, but also as a political and society journalist. That's why I'm kind of prosecuted in Russia. Police came to my mom's place like a lot, and I just had to flee the country with the $200, with duffel bag, 15 kilos, and that was pretty much it. I came to Istanbul, Turkey, and throughout these years, I got like 15 countries to go through. I got a lot of workshops, festivals, and stuff like that. Now I'm in the US, and yeah, but my point was that being stuck in this, like rebuilding yourself as a filmmaker, especially when you're like firstly nobody. Before Beyond Fest selection, Salem Horror Fest selection, Panic Fest selection, I was nobody for the world. I was pretty famous in Russia, as I told you, but I was nobody in the world. And yeah, I just decided to make another shirt just to prove myself, just to show people that I could, like work in English, could work like everywhere. We shot in
Mm-hmm.
Berlin with a really, like small amount of money, I told you, and resources, but we got like really incredible people behind. For example,
You
our
did.
costume designer, she was working on the new Hunger Game part of this franchise, like this prequel about snow and stuff like that. Because like it was shot in Europe, because the director, he's from Berlin. I mean, like he's based in Berlin or something like that. Yeah. And this costume designer, she's Korean, but based in Berlin as well. Yeah. So yeah, it was like this. It was an essential thing to make something, and I
Mm-hmm.
decided to make something even bolder than Dead End, and I got some risks because like the short like this, it's hard to be programmed, to be honest, because it's queer, it's brutal, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes queer people are not so into this brutal stuff. And like genre people, it could be offensed by the lines, like the final line of the movie,
Yeah.
as you know.
But
Spoiler.
well, and it's interesting, and I get where you're saying with that. But for me, like as a queer person, though, I love seeing things like this because it's just an well, one thing I just love, and I know we kind of before we even started talking, we talked about Salem Horror. The one thing I love about Salem Horror is just the amount of queer talent and filmmaker, just everything that Kay brings and curates. I love it, and it makes
Is
me
amazing.
happy because even still, gosh, I'm in my 40s and I'm like, this is the first time I get to see something like this true queer horror that they are just really catering to that. And I love that because, maybe 6-year-old me would have loved to have seen that growing up because I didn't.
Me
And
too,
so,
because like now we are facing the times that are so far from like 90s, from Greg Araki times.
hmm
You just can't like show up and be like Greg Araki right now. But I'd love to make this change. I'd love to change this like industry and something like that, because it's part of myself. And sometimes people could prove themselves in this field, like Jordan Peele, in terms of, like being black, being like representing his own identity. And I'd love to
it's
make
true.
it with my identity as a queer person.
And I mean, well, one, I'm going to tell you right now, I, one of the great things about genre, in my opinion, is that you can put like political or societal messages in these films because it's easier actually for people to digest because sometimes it's not so in your face or it does you're not surrounded by like heavy drama. This is something that there's still like there's that the fear, the anxiety, and they're enjoying that. But then there's slowly that message is getting in, and by the time the movie's over, like, wait a second. And so that's why I love genre. Well, I mean, I love genre for even more than that, but I do feel like, in my opinion, genre is the way when it comes to being able to maybe reach people that normal films wouldn't.
And
So I
yeah, and at the same time, you need to be smarter because like every person can. Don't get me wrong, but it's easier to shoot drama because in terms of the drama genre or something, you just need to be with a good script, with the good characters, with I don't know, like this character dynamic or being
mhm,
touching, being I don't know, something like that. But when you're making genre, you need to be more, I don't know, like cleverer. You need to be calculative in terms of your shots. You need to be
mhm.
sexy in terms of the visual part. You need to make a roller coaster just to, like to get these people, the audience captivated.
Oh my God, you're like speaking to my heart on that one. Yeah, absolutely. I've always, oh man, this is wild. I didn't expect to get into this conversation because I love it. But I do think people don't understand how hard it is to make a genre film. Like well, I love film in general, right? Just like you do. But I think when it comes to, because trying to scare the audience or terrorize, like, everybody has a different level of how they're gonna react. So and so you need to make sure though that it, when you're going for that final scare or initial scare, like, it's going to be, like, accepted all around in terms of, like, feedback. And but also in order to do that though, like you said, it's gotta maybe be shot some way. Maybe the score is gonna have to do something, the lighting, the way
And
you approach.
mostly,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry. And mostly people could, like get it subconsciously. It's a
Mhm.
conscious thing for you, but it's subconscious thing for the audience. Because, like when you're like using, I don't know, split diopter lens or using dolly zoom or something like that, people that are not aware, like stuff like that, they just probably won't get it, but they won't get it on this, like heart level, on this feelings level, something like that. Yeah. But for you, it's totally mathematical. I came through, like this math school, and I'd love to be calculative in terms of the shots. Like I'm storyboarding, I'm shortlisting, and it's like an essential thing for me as a filmmaker.
I love that. I have to ask too, so when you did, you found this bowling alley,
Yeah.
now were
It was
the
accidentally. It was my DP. He was like scouting something like a bathroom for another shoot, and
Mhm.
he found this shitty bathroom, and he told me that probably this shitty bathroom was in a shitty bar that got also a bowling alley, and I was like, I got this idea that we need to make this, like set the an actual place, something more, like unique than just abandoned warehouse. And I was like, whether it would be like pinball or something like that,
Mhm.
or arcade, a club or something. And I got this idea, probably bowling alley, because like Europe got a lot of places like this. And when I saw this place, it was absolutely shitty. It was like such a worse, like
It's
piece of building. Uh, but when you got your own lighting, you could make it like as you told me, sexy. Yeah.
Well, and that was my, okay, so that was all your idea for the lighting then within.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my God, because I'm like, oh Jesus,
And I should show you this. I don't know, like if you'll be able to see that, but it's it's
it.
it's a shot from Joe Bega's movie called Bliss. And I don't know.
Oh, wait,
And
oh.
it's from our shirt. Yeah.
Can I tell you that shot you just showed? I'll put that like on screen too. That is one of my favorite shots in this horror short, just because there's so much going on, like, that you can focus on, that is just so, and then you've got your character centered right there, but the lighting and the floor. Oh my God, that shot, that is like it, that to me was one of the sexiest damn shots. Because I was just
Yeah,
like,
thank you. And
wow.
it was like a long take. It came from my first shot, I mean, like in terms of the craft. And I decided to make it like longer and longer. We got another shot that we were not able to establish at the end of the day, for this scene, I mean.
Mhm.
And but at the end of the day, it's a good thing. Because with this like slightly zoom in, with this character and anxiety, and this voice that is coming through his, I don't know, like headphones or something like that. It's so captivating. I hope so, at least. Yeah.
I did, and again, I loved the setting of the bowling alley. I found it to be, like, so unique because it's not something like I was just like, damn, I've never seen that before. This is interesting. And then
And
obviously where you placed him, I was like, that like it was just I don't know. I was like literally what when I was I should tell people too. I was thankful to get to screen this, and like I was just like this the entire time, just watching your film because it's just like, oh my god, it's just you guys. I cannot recommend this enough because it's just well, one because it's so queer, and I love that,
thank
but
you.
it is just I can't explain like the joy because I love this type of lighting. I love this like at times dingy, and as you said, it is totally anxiety ridden. And as somebody who struggles with anxiety, I got it. Like I was just like holding my breath through half of this short. So
Yeah, you know what? I'm going through my dark times right now.
mhm.
Like this an anxiety world, being lonely, being, like I've lost my family, friends, and people around, and I need to, as I told you, rebuild myself. And like filmmaking is hard. And when you're like a filmmaker in general with this, like the other fields to be hidden, like as I told you, friends or your partner or I don't know, like family, and I got nothing besides the filmmaking. And yeah, that's why I'm putting all of myself to this kind of world and life, just being a filmmaker. And I'm darker than like I could be. And yeah, that's why it's about my anxiety and the like also I was growing up with this really beautifully shot movies like It Follows, like I don't know, like Nicholas Winding Refn
Oh,
movies,
yeah.
or another great filmmaker that I admire, it's Alexander Khodorovsky, who made The Holy Mountain, which is which is stunningly, like well done, in terms of the visual aspect of
Hmm.
it. And it's so important for me. And it was so important with this low budget level to establish this, like level of visual part of the movie. For example, there is a movie called Swallowed, made by my mentor, Carter
I was
Smith.
gonna say I kind of felt like there was a little bit of that in this when I was watching this movie. Like that's why
Yeah.
I was like, and you told me he was your mentor. I was like, okay, okay, I could see
And
that.
you'll never say that this movie is a low budget, or like we are going through a lot of low budget stuff, and this stuff could be shitty. And even with the like mediocre level of budget, you could be like fucked up in terms of the visual part, because a lot of people don't give a fuck, things like that, but Carter really like into this stuff, and
He
I'd love that.
embraces it. I love it. Like, oh yeah, no.
Shots, they are like amazing, and I get that feeling from him as well, because he came from the fashion photography, and I
Hmm.
love this as well. And one of my favorite photographers, his name Gregory Crutzen, was so inspirational to a lot of cinematographers as Mike Jalakis or Pavel Pogorzelski, or yeah, people like that, and directors like Ari Aster and David Robert Mitchell, for sure. Or one of my favorites, weirdly, M. Night, who could establish, like the really high level of production value,
Yeah.
even with his, like not low budget movies, because he's making like studio
I
films,
was gonna
but
say, yeah.
yeah, but still, he's not like a blockbuster director. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like, and I will say, like, I met Carter Smith once at Overlook, and I was just I fanned out. Like I was like, oh my God, because we had just also finished watching Swallowed, and it was like the second time I had seen it. And I was just like, I just need you to know, like, so happy that we're getting this queer body horror. Like, this is amazing.
Character dynamic was like so good. And this shot when the main character, like hugging his body in the river or something like that, and just
Oh,
praying. It was such, and like I was just killed by this shot.
I told him, I was like, I hate you for that scene. I was like, I hate you for that. He's like, no, but it had. I was like, no, I know it had to happen because I later like sat down with him and like just
But
we.
it was so emotional
Oh
and
my
so
god,
beautifully shot. Like Carter is like genius. And
yeah.
like getting him behind watching my first short Dead End when we got my one of the screenings at Salem Horror Fest last year, it was like a dream come true moment because like I saw the ruins when I was a
Another good
kid.
one.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, this person is like sitting next to me. And he was like, oh, I'm a bit nervous about your shirt, about the screening. You're so good. And I'd love you to be, like seen by these people. And I was like, oh my God, he's such a nice guy. Yeah. And
He
he's so
really
supportive.
is. He is.
And he was like such a good trigger for the power of the strike because we got like initial budget a bit higher, or like not a bit, like super higher.
Mhm.
And I was like, Carter, I just didn't get this money. What should I do? And he told me that you should do that with any money because you could wait for money from rich people like for ages.
Yeah.
I did swallowed on my own, and I was like, oh, you established this level of visual part of the movie with this like tiny amount of money. And I was like, yeah, I just need to do that. And you should be smarter, but it's a good thing for you as a filmmaker, for you as a craftsman. Yeah.
Well, you pulled off some impressive stuff in this film on your budget, then, whatever it may be. I mean, this short, well,
It
packs a good emotional punch. But again, I cannot also praise like the visuals that you do. Like
And
as
sometimes we were going through some risks because like sometimes you're sure that some like visual things could work out,
mm-hmm.
as I told you, like split diopter, it's always working. But sometimes when I decided to make this long, like dolly in, and with this split screen and big eyes. And
Oh,
it
I
was like,
loved that, by the way. I really loved
thank you.
that.
Yeah, it was like, came from Brian De Palma and Tarantino for sure. And I wasn't sure that, like it could work out. But at the end of the day, the whole set, at that moment when we were like shooting this shot, they were like so captivated. And like this voice is coming and we are getting closer to this tied up guy. And yeah, it was just amazingly, I don't know, like impressive for me to see these people just, like being breathtaking.
It's that was so like that's how when I saw that scene too, and as you said, when you did the split screen, I was like, oh my god, like I didn't expect it I didn't expect it, but I was just like, how like not even unique, it was just like, oh my god, like I just was, it's hard to explain, but I was like, damn, that was, it felt, once it kind of fell out of place, but I was like, no, no, this is perfect. This is great because it just like kind of morphed into more to me because I was just like, I had to rewind and watch that second. Like, it's just so cool.
And like I came from this theatrical experience as well. I mean, like theatrical plays. And for me, this, I don't know, like cinema is something artificial in a good way.
Hmm.
And you need to be like, for me, for sure, you need to be more like, I don't know, just something different from our world, something
Yes.
far away from our, like basic lives. And this shot and the shots like this, they are like theatrical. They are like, like something that couldn't happen in real life probably, but it's making like hurting something within you. I don't know if it
No, no,
doesn't.
it totally. I get the, like, as you said, Tarantino reference as well, and but also for me, like, as a lover of anime, I kind of felt like I was like, oh my god, I told, like,
But
it
that
just, it
it's one of the
transported me again. I was like, what is happening? As I'm watching that, like, I really loved that, and I was just like, that is so good.
I love
Um,
you brought it up because like we got a lot of anime references.
so
Like
good.
Chainsaw Man,
Yeah.
like the Death Note for sure, and the Death Note was like such a big thing for my feature script. I got two feature scripts that I'm trying to develop, and one of them was like so inspired by the Death Note, which is a big part of my teenage years.
Love that. I so tell me about also, because I hope when people also, I want, well, one, I want people, I want you all to search this out at the festivals. How did you come to the poster as well? That design, because even
Um,
like the frame, like that, it just,
Yeah, I got a friend of mine. His name Max, and he's living in London. And he's from Russia originally as well. And he's making posters like the great ones for different companies like Mubi or Netflix. He did
mm-hmm.
this poster for All of Us Strangers, for example, and for Black Mirror for Netflix for one of the episodes for the brand new season. Yeah, and I got his connection with them, and I just hit him up, and he told me, yeah, I could help you with this, like posters and stuff, because it's such a good, not like a good, but an essential thing to be promoted, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you're making shirts, because like at the end of the day, using this teaser on poster could, like make you more, I don't know, like visible.
It's very true.
And yeah, I just wanted to make it sexy and, just that when you're going through a lot of stuff on the social media or on the
It
internet.
really, well, and I love like how the hand is outside of like
Yeah.
the frame and the, oh my goodness.
And it was like a bit of old-fashioned stuff because, like I was inspired as this filmmakers, as I told you, and they were like a part of this like 70s, 80s. And I wanted to make some sort of a homage for this era to this era. Yeah. And yeah,
I
we
love
got
it.
like five options, and at the end of the day, decided to pick these two with this hand and another one like more controversial. Probably you saw that on Letterboxd, yeah,
um,
from
so
from
what
the
is
blowjob scene, yeah, yeah.
so what has the experience been though, getting to see your film, or just festivals, taking your short and airing it? What's that been like?
Um, when we were like going through these festivals with my first shot, it was like an incredible experience, especially at Salem Horror Fest. Probably it was like it wasn't my very first experience watching it in the theater with the audience, but it was like the very first experience when I got like such an incredible feedback, and the crowd was like gasping and stuff like that. And I was watching this movie with my mentor, and it was like incredible thing. With the second one, it's a bit tricky because I attended two screenings already, and we got like four festivals already, and I hope we're going through some festivals this summer and fall before we will be landed on Screenbox and some platforms as well. I hope so. Yeah, and I saw probably like in a good way. I saw it once at Panic Fest, and it was such a good experience. But like it was not a small theater, but it was like more intimate, atmosphere
Ooh,
to be
I like that.
watched. Yeah, me too. And this movie is more like Swallowed, is more like, I don't know, this midnight queer experience for the audience, and I'd love
Mm-hmm.
that. And but we'll see. I hope we can get into some festival that I could see with, like big theater and the
That would
huge
be
audience,
amazing.
and just get this different feelings from the audience. Because, like, I love this being not be being loved by everyone or hated by everyone, but, like, devise the crowd. um
Okay,
you need, as an artist, you need to be divisive, and you could be
that's
offensive.
true.
Like when we were picking this final line about Jesus and stuff like that, even my editor was like offensed by it, because he was like, probably we should, like, pick the different version of it, because we got like 3 or 4 different versions for the final line,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them was like more, I don't like, closer to the Saw franchise. It was something like Game Over.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, I decided to go with this one because, like, it was the point. We need to
it worked.
be more provocative in terms of that. And it was like my statement, uh,
Mm-hmm.
especially, like, speaking of this right wing,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
increasing.
No,
Yeah,
I loved it. I'm glad you kept it because I was
thank
like,
you.
I was chuckling. I was like, that's good. Um,
Yeah.
you know, one, I do. I hope this gets to play in more festivals because again, I just love seeing queer horror because honestly, I'll even say horror is innately queer. That
For
that
sure.
like
All the horror
yeah.
people are like outsiders,
Yeah.
and the queer people as well. So it's kind of, like, crossroad for all of them.
It's why well, I mean, I feel like a lot of the well, it's why I'm attracted to that genre, but I do think that's why that genre has so many um memorable characters or characters that people will I guess you can say Twitter stan or something like that. But there are so many iconic roles or iconic
Like
people
Mark
from
Patton did. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
so but I would love to know what was the first horror film you ever saw?
Oh my God. It's a tough question to ask. Like, I remember like 2 experiences from my childhood,
Okay.
uh, or even 3. The first one was like Beetlejuice. And I was a kid, probably like even baby, like I was like 3.
Mhm.
And I got this VHS tape with Beetlejuice, and I got like a couple of scenes from it, and I just decided to, like, to hide this VHS under my wardrobe or something. I was scared. I was like terrified by this, but it wasn't even a horror movie.
It
Uh,
can be if you think about it when you're young. I totally get
yeah,
that.
yeah, but like with Tim Burton and his stuff, it's always like about being more comedy and
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, another one which was like so scared of, it was Mirrors. It was this J horror remake made by
Ooh.
Alexandre Aja, and like, I keep remembering this scene in the bathroom when the girl was
Ooh.
like, yeah,
That's such a good scene.
this it's one of probably most, like, crucial experiences in my teenage years or even childhood. I was like 10, 11, and it was like a not was like a sleepover, but I saw it in my neighbor apartment or something, like the kid that we are playing with on playground or something, and it was just an amazing experience. And what else? Probably it was something from the slasher era, Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so crucial because, like watching these people and going through this scary but a bit meta experiences,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a good thing to be grown up with, and yeah, it was like my very first experiences and my not like favorite horror, but close to. It was It Follows because it's such a comfort movie for me. I watched it like 57 times and I'm counting. And just when I'm getting this bad feeling, I just like play this movie and going through it like a lot, especially this, like suburban car scenes with this disaster, this car. And it was such, and it is still such a good thing for me. And so big for my first shirt, for a bit for my second shirt, and probably for the further stuff that I'll be able to do. I hope so. Yeah, it's like this. And also, I'd love to bring up my favorite filmmakers in
Yeah,
the
let's talk about
indie.
your favorite filmmakers.
Yeah, is in this indie field. Because another great couple that I'm growing up with was Benson and Moorhead. And when I was a kid, I was a part of a cult, and the Endless hurt me a lot in terms of that.
Oh
And
wow.
Spring hurt me a lot in terms of, like being romantic and being like sci-fi and genre and so smart.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched Something in the Dirt, I was like amazed. It was such an incredible movie. Um,
I completely agree on that. I
they are geniuses, especially, like with this no money and such a big in terms of ideas, like piece of art.
Yeah, no, I spoke with them at, oh God, what was it, Brooklyn Horror Fest. I just sat
Okay.
with them for like 20 minutes just talking about that film because Something in the Dirt is wild with how when you find out how they made it, because it was made during the pandemic and just like I think what like three people on set and how they oh my and the things they pulled off. It's
This X-File vibes and this
right.
Twilight Zone vibes. It's such, I mean, like a good thing to observe. And like I'd love that they were appreciated by a lot of film festivals and people, and because it's such a small movie, but it's such a huge thing to hit, like this markets. And I'd love them seeing, like going through this Marvel era, because even with this studio level, they are trying to stick to their guns,
That's yeah.
Uh,
I love yeah, there's still
Lucky season 2 is like incredible,
yeah.
especially the ending, especially in terms of, like visual part as well. Yeah, they are such
It's
good.
so cool to see how they've like just their style and how they've been able to carry it with them. And they do make a name for themselves in terms of just those movies because they've like put Easter eggs and they're sometimes somewhat connected. But yeah, I am a huge fan. And I'll say I didn't discover them until Something in the Dirt. And then I was like, wait, I need to go back and watch all their other
Eh,
stuff because I was like, I'm missing something here.
Have you seen Synchronic?
I have not. That's on my list to see.
It's
Maybe I
like
should watch that
best
tonight.
the best like example of them because it's such an underrated movie, and
Okay. I'm watching
they've
that
been
tonight.
trying to go through like a bigger budget or something with these actors Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan within. And but it's such a good example of like this crossing between sci-fi and being romantic, because it's such a like a full of feelings story. And I love that they are such, like sensitive filmmakers. Uh,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
I will be watching that today, actually now. That's what you I am watching that today now. You've sold me on that. Well, and the other thing too, when I was talking, I was like, I love the fact, in Something in the Dirt, I was like, the fact that we just have this one person, he's queer, and it's like not a big deal. And yeah, like there was just something about that. It made he was so. I like to say the word normal in terms of it was just another person. It came up. It's not like I don't know. It was just like because I feel like that could be me, like just walking into somewhere like nobody's gonna know or nobody cares, and I was just like, it was just really kind of refreshing to see this. Except I did tell him I was like, whoever his ex is that kept giving him money, no, that would never happen. I would never do that. No, get a job. Oh.
Yeah, and probably it's like the next step for us, just, like in terms of queer horror and stuff like that. I wrote this second feature that I'm trying to develop, as I told you, and it's about queer characters, but it's
Hmm.
not about being queer.
See,
It's
I love that.
it's a high-tense thriller, like cat
Ooh,
mouse game between serial killer and the main character with some superpowers. And
I
all of
want
these
that. I
characters are,
manifest. I want this to happen for you because already
yeah,
I'm like, I'm
me too.
invested.
If you know
Oh.
some rich people, just hit them up. Yeah, and all of these characters, I mean, like the main characters, are queer, but this story is not about being queer. It's about an anxiety. It's about privileges. It's about being alienated and stuff like that. And like being queer is just a part of these characters.
This is
As
what we need, people.
Yeah, and that's why Swallowed is such a good movie, because Swallowed is not about being queer. It's about
Mm-mm.
queer characters. But like the fact that the main character is gay, it's just like one of these colors on the palette.
Mm-hmm.
Because this story is about drugs, backs, and friendship, but not about like gay relationship and how sad they could be, how cute they could be, and yeah, it's not a heart stopper.
That's fair. No, but I just I don't know. I love that because well, I'll say I love Heartstopper, but I'll also be like, we're all
Yeah,
not
me too.
Heartstopper. That was not my high school experience.
And
Um,
sometimes I'd love to direct something like this, like young adult gay story, like Love Simon or like Love Victor. Yeah,
yeah.
like set on in high school and being more like Disney-esque. But yeah, sometimes we need to go through this punk territory, and we need to get more movies like this.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Um, you know, since you're a fan of the genres too, what is something that you've seen in recent times that just makes you excited about the horror genre? Could be a new trend, a new director, writer, or just, something that has just like you saw it and it just like struck a chord in you.
Um, You're talking like the horror genre in particular, or
Or if movies, if there's something that like I'm always curious when I speaking with filmmakers, like what is it like you've seen recently that is just like, oh, okay, we're going places. Something that like like it's getting everyone's creative juices flowing because sometimes cinema, I wouldn't say it's boring, but it can sometimes just like plateau in terms of creativity because sometimes we're always seeing remake after remake or films that are just pretty much the same just in a different manner. And so I would be curious, like, what have you seen just recently? It doesn't even
yeah,
you don't even see the movie, just it could be a theme or it could be maybe a certain shot, something that just like makes you excited as a filmmaker.
I want to bring up like a couple of things.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, the first one, it's from like acclaimed genius Luca Guadagnino, and the challengers like hit me, like right in my heart, because it's such a queer movie,
Oh,
not
very.
being like queer in particular, and he is like a genius in terms of the craft, and he established such a great level of like physicality of like you could touch these characters, like you could feel them, and I love that, and I love the story, and I love how smart the script can be, and
Very.
how smart directing can be as well. So but yeah, it's just instant classic for me. In terms of the genre and being like mopang, Skinamarink for sure,
Okay.
with like no money, but with such a great idea and huge like incentive with them. uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd love like him going to like bigger level. I know that he's going to direct something for like an
Yeah.
actual movie.
Yeah, that I mean, I will be honest, Skinamarink, not my favorite, but what I do love is the man, like business wise, smart. What
Yeah,
he
for
did
sure.
with that, like that is like that put him on the map. It also proved that hey, with a little budget, I can bring profit. And two, it was constantly talked about. It was very divisive,
Yeah.
and but it got people to know who he was, and because of that, yeah. So like I may not have enjoyed it, but I was like, I love that you did that though, because also I did find it very to be like, it was risk taking, it was out of the box, and it was a great way to show, I think, people who didn't know you, like what you can bring though. And I feel like there was so much promise. So I'm excited to see what Kyle Edward Bell does next. I really am. And I'm
Yeah, and
happy because
he's such a good person, and he's like so loud on Twitter, like he was. Now he's like getting his like silent time, but yeah, he's a good person, and I'd love to meet him once. We are following each other on Twitter, but yeah. And the third thing that was like really, really, I was surprised
oh,
by how this movie, like could hurt me. It's the movie called I Saw the TV Glow,
oh, I
and
haven't seen that yet. But
yeah, it just came out. It premiered at Sundance this year. It's from this trans director, Jane Shanburn, and who did "We're All Going to the
the
World's
World's
Fair."
Fair, yeah.
Another incredible movie to watch. Yeah, and this movie, I Saw the TV Glow. I got a lot of struggles in terms of the craft, and probably sometimes it doesn't work that well for me. But in terms of the monologues, in terms of the ending of this movie, I was after this movie, I've been crying a lot,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
and I got so many like common experience with these characters, and when they are like, especially Justice Smith performance is such a hit for me. And like I'm going through like some disorders like eating disorder, and I got like the same level of an anxiety because of that. And after this movie I got this bad feeling, but it's a good thing to get this bad feeling, because like I got uh, I've been watching a lot. Last year, I saw like more than 420 films or something, according to my letterboxd. Because like when you're a director, you need to watch a lot. Um, this year, I've already seen like 140 or 150 or something.
I need to up my game.
Yeah. And like your tolerance to this stuff is getting higher and higher with each and every movie. And
Hmm.
it's hard to get like real feelings from the film. And when I'm crying after watching something like Saltburn on Challengers or something like that, I'm crying not because of the plot, but because of the level of this movie. Like, I'd love to make something like this one day, but with I saw the TV Glow, I've been crying because of the plot. I've been crying because of these characters, and it's such a like
Well,
uh
ooh, don't spoil because the press screening. So like, I don't get to see it until next week,
okay,
but
yeah.
I'm going. Like, I am very excited.
I'm looking forward to getting
I
it.
really am. But I mean, I've heard so many great things, and I do love a film. Like you said, if I leave a film, or I think the last horror film I watched that I can think that like really affected me, and I like sat there and cried for 10 minutes was Master. And the reason is because I remember growing up, and I remember you like going to a college campus, and I wanted people to like me. So I let so many things like microaggressions just slide so I could be liked or anything. Like they nicknamed me Jaundice, which at the time I was like, haha, but I'm like, no, they're essentially they were just calling me yellow without calling me that. But I let it slide because I wanted to be liked. And so like I was watching this movie, I was like, oh my God, this is bringing me back, and just all of that.
I was a bullying victim, so I know this stuff.
Like
I was
I was just like
overweight.
it like hit, and then like the end, all of that. And so I love a movie though that you can really connect to on a personal level. So I'm very excited for I Saw the TV Glow. I love that you also mentioned Challengers, because I will tell you, I sat down in the theater not knowing what to expect. I walked out of there and I was just like, I need to go see that again. Like,
I saw
what?
it 3 times already,
I was,
and
I was like, how is that the most sexy film without
exactly.
having sex? Like that is like, I love that, because like you don't need that. The sexual tension, the chemistry, and as you said, like the writing and some of the shots that he did that caught me off guard, because like coming from Luca, I was like, I didn't expect you to
Yeah,
do shots like these.
yeah, I mean, I love Suspiria, the brand new one, like the remake, or cover, as he told us. Yeah, but he's an incredible,
So I love
yeah.
that you mentioned those. That's really cool. I just love hearing people like I said, I love hearing filmmakers and their perspectives on things that are in cinema or that they've just seen recently, because it's impacted them in a way. So I love
And
that.
I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of them were like with Luca as a guest, and yeah, I got such a good feeling from him, like being this Italian gay director. Like he's so sweet, and yeah,
Well, and then also I didn't realize that the writer of Challengers is Celine Song's husband, and Past
right.
Lives wrecked me.
And like both of these movies are about love triangle, and now we
Yes.
know a lot about their relationship.
It does. But yeah, that's really awesome to hear. You know, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just very appreciative I got to screen your film. It really it's so
Anytime.
good. And to people watching, listening, seriously, you need to keep an eye out for The Power of the Strike. It is so good. Two, it just makes me happy there is just more queer filmmakers out there putting some queer art into the world, because we can never have enough, in my opinion.
And like I hope we could, like stick to our guns, because it's such a tough thing. Because you could be ruined by the studio system, by the
Yep.
filmmaking in general,
Hmm.
because it's so tough to just go through your, like personal things. As Jane, the director of I Saw the TV Glow, did. And I'd love that.
Yeah, what was it? Oh, have you got to see was it Carnage for Christmas yet?
Not yet, but I love Alice.
Oh
We're
my God. She's
Such a good.
19. She's
Yeah,
freaking
and it's
19 in her
her like
fifth.
fifth feature. Yeah.
I messaged her because I was just like, I don't know how you do this. I was like,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. Because I was just like, I also love because as a filmmaker, you can see how she's just continually evolved and like changed her craft. And it's just, oh my God. And I just, and then the People's Joker, we need more of that. We really do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but you know what, Dima, I just again so appreciative to get to speak with you and screen your film. And uh I guess my final question is, you said you work on some features. Is that what's next on the plate?
I hope so. I mean, I've been trying to develop one of these features like 2 years already, and I'm really close to something, but like my clock is ticking, not in terms of my years for sure, but in terms of, like being like refugee on a lifeboat or something. I need to
Mm,
make money, I need to just to keep living and stuff like that. And I wrote another short. It's more genre. It's still like with a social commentary within, but it's like more close to Abigail and movies like
okay.
this. Yeah, but besides, and probably it's like my main goal to develop one of these features. One of them is like more it-ask, more like studio big horror, but about, like some outsiders, characters outsiders. Let's say that.
I want whatever that serial killer one you were talking about.
And
I
another
want
one,
that like
yeah.
to everybody. If you start a Kickstarter or anything, you well, I'll stay connected because oh
And
my
like
God.
this serial killer got like some really, I don't know, like
Well,
inventive stuff within, like that I didn't mention yet. Yeah,
okay.
um yeah, and I hope I could manage this because it's such a personal movie as well, because it's more queer than this first feature, but still it's not about being queer. It
They're
just,
just there. And I love that. There's something really nice about that. Like it's 2024. I mean, and we have to deal with like trans rights are being taken away, women's rights are being taken away. We're like queer rights are probably about to be taken away, it feels like. So
abortion
it's
policies, and like and not only in the US. I mean, like the countries like Russia is getting worse and worse.
oh
The
my
country,
gosh.
uh,
It's like dangerous at this point. Well, I
yeah, for
mean, it's
sure.
been dangerous, but in terms of like
'Cause,
being
like the final line of the Power to Strike about Jesus, it's yeah, I could be, like
jailed,
to put, yeah, to jail for like 20 years because of this line. Yeah.
which is crazy. That should not like that should never happen. It irks me. Well, Dima, I just again because I'll fanboy. We'll talk after I end this because I got some things. But I just want to say seriously, thank you. It does. It means the world to me, and I seriously am gonna manifest all of this for you, and also to everybody listening, watching. If you've got a genre festival near you or anything like that, search out the shorts. I really urge people to do that because you really get to meet just so many new filmmakers and talent, and it's just it's so cool because it's nice to get to see somebody from beginning to hopefully then be on the precipice of just blowing up. So but with that, oh
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I love your podcast, and like I've been listening to it. Like,
oh no, not we're so
yeah,
filthy.
yeah, and yeah, it's such a good thing to be here. Thank you.
We're
Yeah,
all just queer people. Like we are so filthy. Anytime I actually reach out for an interview, I always tell people like, please listen to my interviews.
as we should
Don't
be.
listen to my podcast because there's too many dick and cum jokes, and some people could be turned off by
But
that.
like we came from this John Waters movies, so it's a good thing.
So, but with that, I will say goodbye. Thank you.